So at this point, we've talked about raising powers to powers, and specifically we looked at any positive number and we looked at 0. Well, there's another type of number that we haven't had a chance to look at, and that's negative numbers. So what happens if a negative is exponent? This is something that you come across in the wild. It shows up from time to time. And the thing that I want you to remember is that everything in the world is a fraction. So 3, for example, is 3 divided by 1. Right? That is just a rule of life. Any number that you see is a fraction. And the rule of what we do when we have 3 to the power negative 1, or any number to a negative power, is that we're actually going to flip the fraction, right? So we're going to flip this. What's on top will go on bottom, and vice versa. So instead of this being 3 over 1, it's now going to be 1 over 3. But then there's this negative 2 business right here. Well, it's attached to the 3, right? The 3 is its base. So in order to make it positive, we have to flip the entire fraction, and then now this becomes positive 2. And that's it. This process of taking a fraction and flipping it is called a reciprocal. It's a word that you'll hear from time to time, but I'm going to keep calling it flipping. I think that's a little bit more fun to say. So again, same thing here, right? This is x, just it's x over 1. So in order to kind of deal with the negativeness of the exponent, I'm just going to flip the fraction, so 1 over x. And now I'm going to turn that 4 into positive 4. And that's it. That's all what we're doing. We're just taking it and flipping it, making it from negative to positive. But if you look at these final 2 examples here, they look very, very similar, but there's a very, very key distinction here. So this is 10 times s to the negative 3rd power. So the s is over 1. So the 10 is going to stay the same. And this is times, so 10 times. And then we have now 1 over s to the power 3. Well, if you remember how we multiply fractions, we multiply, 3 left. We multiply, across, so 10 times 1 is 10. And then 1 times s to the power 3 is s to the power 3. Okay, so that's one instance. Now, if I had parentheses here, changes the entire thing, right? Because now this negative 3, as we mentioned before, is going to both pieces here. So this is now 1 over 10s. And notice I'm still going to use the parentheses, the power 3. So these are 2 very, very different problems in terms of what they simplify. Just know that the parentheses affect it a great deal. You're going to see both of these types of problems in practices in real life and in further math classes, and I want to make sure that you're prepared for them. So make sure that you understand the difference between these 2, because they will show up.